I would like to introduce Dr. Kaushik Murali, who heads the Department of Ophthalmology in Shankara Eye Foundation, based at Bangalore, and an extremely dynamic person. I mean, I feel proud to have such a leadership candidate amongst us, because there's so much of leadership pearls which he can actually teach all of us. Dr. Guru Prasad. So he is going to be talking on something very, very important to all of us: setting, tracking, and achieving targets, my template.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So sitting through this morning, all of us are probably aspiring to grow like a Center for Sight or an eye foundation, with the efficiency that an Arvind brings in, with the vibrancy of Dr. Mohan Raj, and with the value system of Dr. Harsha, and making sure that every woman in our organization is empowered, like what Chitra ma'am spoke about. And then end of the day, you go back tomorrow and you're stuck saying that, what the hell do I do? Where do I even start? So it kind of becomes very critical to understand context, and also understand what we want to do in the time frame that we have. And towards that, the devil is, of course, in the details. So this is a very famous quote by Philip Kotler that often gets misquoted, that says that the devil is in the details and only what gets measured gets done. But actually the quote says that only what gets measured gets managed. And often we can only manage the details that are in front of us, and invariably you don't have too much of a handle in getting things done. With that, as leaders in our own facility, in our own organization, we need to go back to what Spider-Man said: with great power comes great responsibility. And unless we are very clear about the responsibility that each one of us beholds, it is not fair to expect our staff or those who are working with us to take on that set of responsibility. So targets and goals are two words that probably I would be using very interchangeably. Setting goals, of course, helps us keep focused on what truly matters. And having a goal as a leader helps you have in view the bigger picture, not just what has to be done now, today or tomorrow or this week, but largely keeps you in a direction. So it gives you a kind of a compass in terms of what you want to achieve and what you would consider or qualify as a partial success or a failure. This setting targets and kind of achieving it, one, also helps you get motivated because you get a sense of fulfillment, and second, it keeps accountability in place. So you're very clear in terms of very transparent black and white metrics about what you expected, what got done, and what is the gap that is there. And any target, one, of course, as leaders at the organization, we have our business goals and we have our personal career goals. Honestly speaking, my personal career goals, I suck at it. So I will not even going to realm into that, but I'm going to stick for the context of this discussion largely in terms of the business goals that we as professionals would have at our workplace. Sorry. So the first thing to get started off is having that sense of purpose. So it starts with you visioning. So as an individual, you could do it as a dream board where you just put random pictures about what you think you want to do in the next 20, 30 odd years. Or second is to look at a larger visioning where you try to understand, saying that why do you think you even exist? So it is the question of those 5 whys of what drives you that will bring you down to that little thing of saying that what is it that you intend to accomplish in the next several years. Against that, you also cannot be in the dream world of daydream of utopian state of saying, oh, I want to be the best ophthalmologist in the world. But you need to break it down into what your actual objectives are and how you're going to actually reach it. So that is more immediate. That focuses on the today and how you're going to achieve it. That qualifies as your mission statement. So whatever be the scale of operations that you're in, you could be an employee in an organization, but please have your own vision and mission statement, so to speak. Here I'm sharing the vision and mission statement of Shankara, where our vision is to work towards freedom from preventable and curable blindness. So that's like a motherhood dream that our founder had when he started the organization. And our mission of what we want to do on a day-to-day basis is to provide unmatched eye care with a service-oriented team. So that's very clear, saying that what on a day-to-day basis we expect all our employees to do. The second step, once you've done the vision and mission, is, yes, you know what you want to do now, you know where you want to be, is to analyze what we would typically do as a SWOT analysis. The SWOT or a SWOT looks at your strength, weakness, opportunity, and challenges. So again, we've been doing this every 4 to 5 years at our organization, and this is part of the SWOT that we did in 2021. looking at our next 5-year kind of a thing. So in our strength, we said our ethical brand positioning is very good. All our hospitals being accredited is a strength. We have a very clear vision. Our infrastructure is good. Our gift of vision, which is our doorstep to doorstep outreach program, and probably one of the largest structured such programs, is our big strength. Our geographic spread is today working as our strength. And then we looked at various opportunities and challenges. Then it doesn't just stop there. You need to do some kind of a risk analysis. So you looked at the opportunities. What are the risks that you will not achieve it? Same thing with your strength. What are the risks that your strength will disappear tomorrow? When you look at the threats, how much are you at risk of that threat actually coming to real? And once you list it out, you can't work on every risk. So you have to be a little realistic about it. So you again classify it in terms of probability of it being low, medium, high. You look at the impact that it will have on your organization, and then you look at how you're going to prioritize it. So anything that has 2 or 3 reds, when you're classified as that's high, definitely requires some action to be taken. And next level, you start thinking or ideating, saying that how can I actually mitigate this risk, or if there is an opportunity there, how do you actually build on it? That then gets broken out in individual tasks, which could be time bound, saying that, okay, my eventual dream is to like create a path breaking innovation in the next 5 years, which could be process, product, or technology. Towards that, we said that, okay, we need to set up an innovation center, we need to set up a corpus for innovation, we need to source funding, we need to look at a criteria for how we want to establish. So we looked at teleophthalmology innovation center. So you break that down into specific tasks that you can actually achieve or gun for in that 1 year towards that larger goal that you have towards achieving that objective. So again, going back to what we are looking at, we looked at Shankara. Our vision and mission was very clear. We said that we want to be able to do about 3 lakh eye surgeries for the underprivileged year on year by 2022, use innovations for us to be recognized as a leader, and maintain the culture and ethos that the movement was founded by our founders. Then we broke it down into individual vertical areas and said that what are the things that we want to do. So again, at research development, we said we want a path-breaking innovation and we need to set up a corpus. So that kind of gives you very clear clarity in terms of directionally where you want to go. And as leaders, once you have this as a mandate, you need to set up goals. So when I say setting up goals, it's not the typical New Year resolution. So most of my personal goals are to like our New Year resolutions, where we say, oh, I want to become fit, I want to lose 10 kgs of weight, and you don't do anything about it. But rather, you need to look at what are defined as SMART goals. So SMART goals are something that is specific, that is measurable, that is achievable. It is not a dream, but it is something that you think it can be. It can be a stretch, and it should be relevant to your vision and mission. So it cannot be a goal that you picked off the cuff. So listening to all these luminaries today, you can't go back and start picking on goals that are completely unconnected to what you want to achieve. So it has to be very relevant to you, and there has to be a time frame in which you want to achieve it. It could be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 5 years, but that time has to be put for when you want to achieve these goals. The second most important thing when you're setting yourself targets or goals is to understand the difference between a measurement and a metric. You would have seen a lot of charts that were showed today. So measurement is basically a instant. So it gives you saying that at that point in time, what was it? So for example, we had 5 near misses reported in 2022. That is a measurement. A metric gives you a little more information because you're comparing it with certain other aspects or to the baseline. So we're saying that, okay, our near miss events improved by 40% from 2021 to 2022. That means that we were more proactive in identifying potential risks in the hospital. So similarly, you have to be clear saying, are you measuring or are you looking at a metric? Over a period of time, all your measurements, are you building a trend line to see how the change is happening? That becomes very, very important. The second aspect when you're setting up your own targets or goals is to understand what are called as outcome metrics or performance metrics. Now, the outcome metrics tells you the outcome of something that you have done or not done, because it is too late to change what has happened. So it is basically history. It measures your past performance. So for example, 3,500 surgeries done last month. You cannot go back and change it. You can't travel in a time machine. So it's what we would define as a lag indicator. It is important to have these lag indicators because that tells you how you're moving. But more important is to look at a performance metric that tells you that what is it that you are doing that you can change that will have a more positive outcome. Because this is more forward looking. So for example, your OPD to IPD conversion rate, if you're able to change it to 9.2% from 9%, then yes, that is a lead indicator. That means that there is some change that is happening and you can actually modify it, or the number of surgeries that were advised to those being cancelled, that becomes some kind of a performance metric that you can actually look at it when you're going ahead. Again, these are very random numbers I've plonked there. These are not actual data. When you're looking at goals, again, it is very important that it gives you direction, but it is extremely time consuming. So rather than battle it alone, I think somebody else had spoken that two heads are better than one. Involve your staff, your peers who are there, because they can not only give you essential data that you may not be aware of. You can say that I want my patient seen in 30 minutes. They may tell you, doctor, it's not possible. 95% of patients come in between 11 to 12 and you cannot have your employees based on that. They help you fix any blind spots that you may not have. It is important for you to remember lessons learned. So what did you experience previously that can set it, and be sure that you're relevant and communicate it back to your team. It is not enough for you to have it in your mind. Put it out in the open so that everybody speaks the same language. What you should not do is don't get greedy. Like I said, 50%, 200% growth are great, but in your situation, is it possible? Be realistic about it. If you're not reviewing these goals, again, there is no point. It is not like how our politicians come and ask us during our elections. I'm coming out of the Karnataka elections where we saw our MLA after 4.5 years. So that doesn't help. So you have to periodically review so that your staff are aware that you're top of the game and you're knowing what it is. Also, you need to allow your team to overcome any possible challenges. This could be in funds, tools, training, and some of them may be resistance to change. So don't be diffident to let go of them. And what have you actually executed? Is this just an Excel sheet or a chart on your desk, or have you done anything about it? What you have as an individual goal needs to drill down into a departmental and an individual goal. Only then will it percolate down and will you actually achieve it. You cannot do all of it on your own. So break it up into various departmental activities, give them their own strategy, let them do the same exercise, saying that, okay, this is your goal post, how do you want to achieve it? What is the time frame that you think you want to do it? And then periodically keep again looking at it. Again, empower your department leads or whoever your in charges are. Give them that role, give them that responsibility, and you will suddenly see magic happen. So every Friday we get on to a 10-minute call with each one of our vertical leads. Why Friday? Because I know on a Thursday they're going to do that with their reportees, and they will look at the details of why certain things happened, why certain things did not happen, because you will get those small steps growing as well as you'll get some attention. And every Monday across our organization, all the business leads get into what is called as the one-point agenda meeting, where they're allowed to bring up one aspect or one point for discussion, because certain things that you do probably are dependent on others doing or not doing things, or you need a support. So this becomes a great forum for you to ask for help, and where you need any cross-functional activities done, that kind of helps you up. Again, transparency is very critical when you're trying to achieve your targets. So we've found a lot of these open source tools, like a simple Google Sheet or a Google Doc do magic. You don't need very complex dashboards for you to monitor it. Have clarity in what you're putting in, because this way everything is in black and white and all of you are seeing the same chart. So what we do is we have something, a Google chart like this, where we break it up into what are the activities that are expected to be done, what are the targets that they had, and every week what the minutes were in terms of what we achieved and what we promised we would do in the subsequent week. And that goes like a dynamic sheet that we retain that is working. As a leader, again, it is very likely that you're going to beat yourself up for not achieving what you set out to do. That is where your vision becomes very critical in terms of why do you exist. So having a long-term goal helps you, because you will have those little bumps. None of us expected COVID to happen. The 5 days that you're here at the conference, your OPD is going to probably crash by 40-50%. You're not making 1 rupee of revenue. You're going to beat yourself up by saying that, oh, I want to make sure that I go back and not sleep well and get back to work early. But the minute you have a more long-term perspective, you're not going to neglect your health or your personal well-being. You have a much larger perspective and a goal. So you're looking at the bigger motherhood statement of probably eliminating blindness in our country. And that kind of keeps you going when those little things happen. Look at great leaders. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Why did they go to jail? They never got defeated when they got beaten up, because they were looking at independence of India, or they were looking at equality among human beings. So we can't be as great as they are, but at least have those goals that don't make your everyday tasks look very critical or urgent and helps you prioritize. The last thing that I would like to leave behind is this matrix called the Eisenhower matrix, that again is attributed to the 34th President of the United States, where you classify it in terms of urgency and importance. So this is something that I put together the day before I was traveling to Kochi, where we had to complete this presentation for AIOC, so that was urgent and important, so I looked at it. Watching PS2, yes, it was urgent and important because my wife and daughter wanted to, but I couldn't go for that movie because we couldn't get tickets. Completing paper submission in AI and cataract that we were working on was urgent. Was not urgent, but it was important, so I delegated it to somebody, asked them to work on it. I put that on the back burner. We have our alumni meeting happening on the sidelines. I knew that there's no way that I could get it done, so I've delegated it to a couple of our colleagues and our administrative staff who are handling that entire thing. Then the previous evening, some of my friends in Bangalore said, can we catch up at Toit, which is a very popular microbrewery. Looking at all the other stuff, I knew for a fact that there's no way I'm going to do that. So that is something that you delete out. So having this kind of a simple grid in terms of having your laundry list and classifying it will very easily help you kind of put some method to the madness. I'll finally end this with this quote, again attributed to Pablo Picasso, saying that our goals can only be reached through a vehicle or a plan that we should fervently believe and upon which we act, and there is no other route to success. So once again, a big thank you to Chitra ma'am and the ARC team for inviting me here.
एक मिनट Oh, अच्छा ठीक okay. That was a wonderful talk, and wonderful it was. Thank you very much for that. I would want the expert panel, before Kamal Kapoor takes on the talk, all of us need to know, while you say, I have to go for the court martial, so I'm going to miss Kamal Kapoor's talk. But please, he's the heads the Sharpsight Institute, a Sharpsight group of hospitals. He had an injury today and he has messaged me that he cannot come. But limping, he has come to give a talk to you all. So let's all give him a big clap, and please let's all learn from him. So, and yes, I wanted to ask the expert panel, Dr. Guru Prasad and Dr. Kaushik, how would you incentivize your staff? You know, a plan, can't be said in few minutes, or...
No, ma'am, not everything is monetary.
Yeah, monetary.
So when we have an infection-free month, we cut a cake together.
Yeah.
So you have to celebrate. So
Yeah.
that's very key to that.
Yeah.
Some of these, yes, we do link it to a variable pay. So there
Yeah.
are key result areas that we expect every team member to achieve.
Yeah.
Again, the key result area is not just linked to your income expenditure, but some of it is linked to, say, safety, governance, those aspects also. So you need to kind of drill it out and work it.
Kamal Kapoor, he's in this session. You are in the next session. Okay, right. Okay, thank you,